Welcome to Climate Briefing's news roundup for the week ending Friday the 3rd of March 2017. In the United States, President Trump's administration is expected to reduce funding to climate change and anti-pollution initiatives. This is after the announcement on Monday that funding for non-defense programs is to be slashed. According to inside sources, the White House is proposing to cut 25% from the budget of the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. Again in the US on Thursday, a requirement that the oil and gas industries supply methane emission figures from their operations was withdrawn. The requirement had been implemented by the EPA just 2 days after President Trump's election win. Mr. Trump has also signed an executive order to roll back an Obama-era rule that was designed to protect the nation's waterways from pollution. Meanwhile, the governor of California has called for $437 million of investment in flood control measures. Recent severe storms damaged the state's Oroville Dam and caused nearly 200,000 people to be evacuated from their homes. A new study conducted by researchers in northwest Canada has reported that swathes of Arctic permafrost are undergoing rapid thawing. The researchers analysed nearly 500,000 square miles of permafrost and found that 52,000 square miles of it are disintegrating. It's estimated that the world's permafrost, which has remained frozen for 10,000 years, holds twice as much carbon as the atmosphere, and that any sudden release, through melting, could accelerate global warming. The Marshall Islands in the Pacific Ocean this week became the first nation to ratify a global pact to phase out the use of hydrofluorocarbons, greenhouse gases employed in refrigeration and air conditioning. HFCs were originally introduced to replace ozone-depleting CFCs, but it is now known that they trap far more heat in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide. The president of the Marshall Islands, which are highly vulnerable to sea level rises, said in a statement, "My country will not survive without urgent action to cut emissions by every country and every sector of our economies." The European Union's member states have, after 2 years, agreed on an overhaul of the EU's carbon trading scheme. Measures include a €12 billion innovation fund and incentives for industries to cut pollution and adopt cleaner technologies. The changes are designed to close loopholes in existing legislation and accelerate Europe's move towards a less carbon-intensive economy. In the UK, Green groups say that holding the government to account has been made far more difficult. This is because new legal rules have come into force. Automatic cost caps have been scrapped, which previously limited what individuals and non-governmental organisations had to pay if they brought an environmental legal challenge but then lost the case. A new system involves means testing. Though the Ministry of Justice has underlined that legal aid remains available, a House of Lords committee has concluded that the changes will discourage people from taking such cases to court. This has been a Climate Briefing weekly roundup. Details of these and other stories can be found at climatebriefing.org.